Good morning and welcome to today's video. So I want to try and keep this as short and succinct as possible because I think it's something that could go off on tangents. But I wanted to talk a little bit today about nutrition, diets, weight loss, cycling for weight loss and that kind of thing. In terms of why I'm doing this, I've been full of cold and stuff over the weekend, and I have been watching lots of YouTube, and I've seen a few videos coming up talking about the best ways to lose weight and how people have lost weight and what they eat and how they train and that kind of thing. I'm also in quite a few Facebook cycling forums, and it's a question that comes up quite often, or people are talking quite often about how much weight they've lost since they started cycling, and all that kind of thing. So there are some things that I don't agree with, and so which is why I thought I'd kind of add my 2 cents worth to the discussion about it, really. And I mean, you might wonder why I think I've got any authority to talk on it when there's already so much stuff out there. I've got a qualification in nutrition and weight management through City and Guilds, a diploma. I've read quite extensively about nutrition because it was something I'm really passionate and interested about because I've had my own weight loss journey. I've watched lots of seminars and documentaries and things, so it's an area that I feel pretty well versed on and that I've got a real interest in. And I think there's a lot of misinformation and really bad, damaging information out there. And so, yeah, I thought I'd just kind of do my little bit to kind of speak to what I feel is, is worth knowing. I mean, to start with, in terms of weight loss, you cannot out-train a bad diet. So there might be people out there who are dropping tons of weight by cycling, but if you eat a load of crap and you're continuing to overeat, there'll come a point where you can't lose anymore, or if your activity level goes down for whatever reason, injury or time of year or whatever, and you can't get out and you can't do as much, then you will gain weight. So point one that I wanted to address is that diets don't work. As far as I'm concerned, in the grand scheme of things, in the bigger picture, diets do not work. So whether that's Weight Watchers, whether that's Slimming World, whether that's paleo, whatever. Yes, there's evidence to suggest that they work in the initial term, when you're cutting calories and make any change. Particularly things like Atkins diet, or what now is the keto diet. When you cut out a lot of carbs and carbohydrate molecules contain lots of water molecules. So as soon as you cut carbohydrates, you're cutting water, and when you lose that water, then you're automatically going to lose weight and you're going to have a flatter stomach. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're losing fat. So, I suppose that's the thing, that when you weigh yourself on the scale, you're weighing everything: water, fat, bone, everything. So, so diets don't work. Diet plans sell you diet culture. They hook people in who are feeling vulnerable and feeling desperate, and they offer a quick fix, and they show photoshopped photos. They show people who have lost weight but don't show you the long-term goal, 5 or 10 years, long-term outcome 5 or 10 years down the line, where that person's actually regained everything and more. What works, I believe, is having an awareness of what you're eating and having balance and flexibility in your approach to eating. So, you need to learn how to eat long term, and that's where diets fall short, because you can't maintain things that are really, really restrictive, or that are about eating a particular brand's meals and bars and that shakes and things like that. And when you come off the plan, you've learned nothing about how to manage with real food in the real world that's not strictly aligned with that plan, and so people go off piste with it. So point one, diets don't work. Point two, not all calories are created equal. So a calorie is a measurement of energy. It's a measurement like watts, or whatever other ways of measuring kind of distance, kilometers, miles, pounds, ounces, whatever. It's a measurement. So strictly speaking, a calorie is a calorie in that it's a scientific measurement of energy. However, the sources of that energy vary vastly. So you could have an apple that weighs 80 grams and is 120 calories. And you might have 2 biscuits or cookies that are maybe, I don't know, let's say 45, 50 calories each. So maybe roughly eating a similar kind of amount of calories. However, in the apple, you get roughage, you get like fibre, you get micronutrients, it's the kind of vitamins and minerals. You'll get all of that from there. You'll get sugar, but it's natural sugar, and because it's absorbed with the fibre, it is absorbed at a slower rate, so you're not getting those big sugar crashes. Whereas if you eat the cookie or the biscuit, you're just eating refined sugar, refined flour. There's no nutritional quality to those those kinds of calories. So, you could eat nothing but cookies all day, and stay under your calorie goal, and you could lose weight, but there would be no health benefit to doing that. So, if you're coming at weight loss from wanting to improve your health, and if in terms of cycling, if you're looking at trying to improve performance, then all calories are not created equal, and that's something that you need to think about. So point 3 is I have seen and heard certain people saying that you don't need to calorie count. And that we need to listen to our bodies, eat when we're hungry, stop when we're full. And in an ideal world, I would agree that seems to make absolutely perfect sense. The problem is we're so out of touch with our bodies. We're so out of touch with listening to when we're hungry and when we're full. We've sort of reprogrammed our bodies to not send the correct signals. So, for example, I might be completely satiated, I've had enough breakfast, it's 2 hours later, I should not be hungry. But if I start thinking about wanting a bar of chocolate, and I think about that and I think about that, my mouth starts watering in anticipation of maybe having this bar of chocolate, my stomach might start growling, and so it can be deceiving. I might start to feel like I'm hungry when I'm not. Similarly, if you if you've regularly overeaten, and maybe this is not just for months but for years, that's been your pattern of binging and overeating, your body switches off the hormones that signal to say that you're full, and so you continue to eat and you continue to eat and you continue to eat. And so we need to sort of reprogram ourselves, and one way of doing that is by counting calories, because how else are we going to know how much we're eating? You need to know what your calorie requirement is for the day. Particularly if you're looking at weight loss, you need to have an idea of how much you weigh, how tall you are, what you want your weekly weight loss to be, what that equates to in calories, what your calorie requirement is to stay upright and breathing, and to make sure that you're not cutting too much, because then you're going to get to the stage where you're not getting off the couch and your body starts to consume itself. And so you have to look at a way of sort of managing that in a measurable way, and counting calories is that, because then calories in, calories out. You can even if it's not something that you do long term, there's an app called MyFitnessPal, which is excellent for this, because it will take all your statistics, it will do the maths for you, it will work out how many calories you need to reduce by a day. You can sync it to fitness apps like Strava and Map My Ride and things like that, so when you do exercise, it will sync and it will give you extra calories. So if you want to eat more, you can eat more. If you want to save those so you've got a deficit, you can do that. And again, that gives you some idea, some way of linking it all together and having some kind of measurable means of monitoring calories in, calories out. And over time, it's about retraining and reprogramming your approach to portion control and things like that. So it might be that you start doing things in addition to calorie counting, things like using a slightly smaller plate to serve yourself up something. It might be that something I still have to do is weigh food out. So when it comes to things like pasta and oats, if I'm just relying on I will always overserve myself, because I've got this irrational fear of being hungry. But if I weigh out a portion and I know how much I've had, then I know that I've had enough. So there is a lot of psychology that goes into that. Point 4 is cycling and fueling for cycling. So, in terms of weight loss, there's an estimation that it's around sort of 70% down to diet and about 30% down to exercise and kind of burning things off. So, I mean, I guess that goes back to the first point, is that, you can't out-train a bad diet. And so you need to be making sure that your nutrition's on point and that you're kind of backing that up. And, there's other kind of health benefits to exercise other than weight loss. So, yeah, kind of just kind of general physical and mental health benefits from exercise. The one thing that you need to consider is, if you are exercising for weight loss, you need to make sure that you're eating enough to fuel your ride. So that might be different to somebody who's fueling a ride for performance. So it might be, if you're going out and doing a 2-hour ride, and let's say for argument's sake you burn 700 calories, you may end up bonking if you don't eat something. So if you're just trying to go out and do that on just fueling yourself with water and no energy, you're going to end up feeling pretty crappy on that. So it's about looking, again, working out what your calorie needs are for the day, how much of a deficit you need to meet your weight loss goal for that week. So, for example, you might only need to have a deficit of 500 calories a day. You might burn 700 calories cycling. So you've got 200 calories of that 700 that you can play with by eating a little bit more or having a recovery drink. And particularly if you're doing this sort of multiple times a week, you're going to want to make sure that it's not going to be enjoyable if you get into the stage where you're just flagging and you're finding it really difficult and it's a real slog. So the other side of that is, if you are cycling for some level of performance, or you've got an event, then you should not be cutting calories. If you're doing it for performance, you need to fuel properly. You need to make sure that you've got enough in the tank that you're using that to burn off. And in those instances, you're not going to be burning off an excess to lose weight. So I guess you need to sort of decide that if it is just for exercise and it's for leisure and recreational fun, then absolutely, doing it for weight loss isn't a problem. But yeah, if you've got any designs on sort of putting in a decent performance, even if it's just sort of managing your fueling strategy around that period of time that you're training for an event and doing the event, you might be able to kind of cut calories and lose weight in an off season or outside of those events. But yeah, you shouldn't be trying to lose weight whilst training for or undertaking an event. And then just to wrap it all up, point 5 is really just make it manageable. It's going to be manageable if it's not massively restrictive. If you've got a flexible approach to being able to have things like chocolate, or to have some wine if you want a glass of wine, and not chastise yourself. Because if this is something that's really hard work and really not enjoyable, then it's not sustainable. It's just not, and it's going to be completely miserable. So plan ahead. Plan your meals ahead, so you're not making kind of decisions when you're hungry. You're not caught in a situation where you're at work and you need to nip to the shop to buy something and it's not on your meal plan. Plan ahead, make it flexible, and enjoy it. So that really rounds it up for today. If you've got any questions or anything that you want to contribute, then put it in the comments below. If you've liked the video and you feel it's been useful, give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing, and I shall see you next time. Thank you.